Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Srimad Bhagavadgita, the most significant scripture in Vedic tradition, the crushed jewels of the Vedas and the Upanishads, nestled inside the voluminous book of Mahabharata. Bhagavad Gita bears the uniqueness of having emanated directly from the lips of God, who was manifest as Lord Krishna. Srimad Bhagavadgita is a sacred spiritual manuscript and a guide for mankind for the happy and easy life. Srimad Bhagavadgita is not only the discussion between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, it is the dialogue between Jivatma and Paramatma, that is the soul and the Supreme Spirit. Chapter 1. Arjuna Vishada Yoga, the distress of Arjuna, contains 46 verses. Arjuna has requested Lord Krishna to move his chariot between the two armies. His growing dejection is described as he fears losing friends and relatives as a consequence of war. Chapter 2. Sankhya Yoga, the book of principles, contains 72 verses. After asking Lord Krishna for help, Arjuna is instructed into various subjects such as Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, and the immortal nature of the soul. Sankhya here refers to one of 6 orthodox schools of the Hindu philosophy. This chapter is often considered the summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 3. Karma Yoga, virtue in work or virtue of actions, contains 43 verses. Lord Krishna explains how Karma Yoga, that is performance of prescribed duties but without attachment to results, is the appropriate course of action for Arjuna. Chapter 4. Jnana Yoga, the religion of knowledge, contains 42 verses. Lord Krishna reveals that he lived through many births, always teaching yoga for the protection of the pious and the destruction of the impious, and stresses the importance of accepting a guru. Chapter 5. Karma Sannyasa Yoga, religion by renouncing fruits of works, contains 29 verses. Arjuna asks Lord Krishna if it is better to forego action or to act. Lord Krishna answers that both are ways to the same goal, but that in acting Karma Yoga is superior. Chapter 6. Dhyan Yoga or Atma Sanyam Yoga, religion by self-restraint, contains 47 verses. Lord Krishna describes the Ashtanga Yoga. He further elucidates the difficulties of the mind and the techniques by which mastery of the mind might be gained. Chapter 7. Jnana Vijnana Yoga, religion by discernment, contains 30 verses. Lord Krishna describes the absolute reality and its illusory energy Maya. Chapter 8. Akshara Parabrahma Yoga, religion by devotion to the one Supreme God, contains 28 verses. This chapter contains eschatology of the Bhagavad Gita, importance of the last thought before death, differences between material and spiritual worlds, and light and dark paths that a soul takes after death are described. Chapter 9. Rajavidya Rajaguhya Yoga, religion by the kingly knowledge and the kingly mystery, contains 34 verses. Lord Krishna explains how his eternal energy pervades, creates, preserves, and destroys the entire universe. Chapter 10. Vibhuti Yoga, religion by the heavenly perfections, contains 42 verses. Lord Krishna is described as the ultimate cause of all material and spiritual existence. Arjuna accepts Lord Krishna as the Supreme Being, quoting great sages who have also done so. Chapter 11, Viswarupa Darshana Yoga, the manifesting of the One and Manifold, contains 55 verses. On Arjuna's request, Lord Krishna displays his universal form Viswarupa, a theophany of a being facing every way and emitting the radiance of 1,000 suns, containing all other beings and material in existence. Chapter 12, Bhakti Yoga, the religion of faith, contains 20 verses. In this chapter, Lord Krishna glorifies the path of devotion to God. Lord Krishna describes the process of devotional service, Bhakti Yoga. He also explains different forms of spiritual disciplines. Chapter 13, Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, religion by separation of matter and spirit, contains 35 verses. The difference between transient perishable physical body and the immutable eternal soul is described. The difference between individual consciousness and universal consciousness is also made clear. Chapter 14, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, religion by separation from qualities, contains 27 verses. Lord Krishna explains the three modes, gunas, of material nature pertaining to goodness, passion and nescience. Their causes, characteristics and influence on living entity are also described. Chapter 15, Purushottama Prapti Yoga, religion by attaining the Supreme, contains 20 verses. Lord Krishna identifies the transcendental characteristics of God, such as omnipotence, omniscience, and omnipresence. Lord Krishna also describes a symbolic tree representing material existence, which has its roots in the heavens and its foliage on earth. Lord Krishna explains that this tree should be felled with the axe of detachment, after which one can go beyond to his supreme abode. Chapter 16, Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga, the separateness of the divine and undivine, contains 24 verses. Lord Krishna identifies the human traits of the divine and the demonic natures. He counsels that to attain the supreme destination, one must give up lust, anger, greed, and discern between right and wrong action by discriminant to buddhi and evidence from the scriptures. Chapter 17, Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga, religion by the threefold kinds of faith, contains 28 verses. Lord Krishna qualifies the three divisions of faith, thoughts, deeds, and even eating habit corresponding to the three modes, sattva, tamas, and tamoguna. Chapter 18, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, religion by deliverance and renunciation, contains 78 verses. In this chapter, the conclusions of previous 17 chapters are summed up. Lord Krishna asks Arjuna to abandon all forms of dharma and simply surrender unto him, and describes this as ultimate perfection of life. Om Tat Sat.